Check this out.
Todd,
Trevor,
man,
what's good,
a
man?
pleasure to meet you. We've never met.
Yes, we did. We had to.
Never.
You're kidding. In the office, one time you ran into the office. You said, Trevor, I work here. You don't remember? In
Where?
Champion?
Which
It's
really?
like 30 years ago. So you
I
forgetting
was going
things,
out
man.
I was going out a lot. So, you were born where?
Brooklyn, New York.
And when you were growing up, what were you listening to? Where were you going? Where were you hanging out?
I didn't. Let me see. Like I used to live in Brooklyn, New York, and then we moved to a place called Brighton Beach.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a grasp on music at all until my sister was playing music in her room, and she wouldn't. You're banging on the door and she wouldn't let you in the room.
Yeah.
So I would just hear the rumbling of things and stuff like that, and then I kind of got into music that way. I was like, I want to hear the music too, stuff like that. So that's how I first really got into music. I think I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old, kind of really
we're similar.
figuring
We're
out.
not going to drop our age. But I think
We're similar, yeah.
around
We're around that, close to that age, yeah.
So what kind of stuff were you checking?
She was playing like funk and soul and stuff like that, and I just was kind of like mesmerized about it. And then I remember one day, like I saved up like $4 or whatever or something, and I went to a record store and I brought a record, a 45, and it was James Brown.
Okay. And then when you started going out for the first time, when you were a bit older, when you were
Oh yeah, I
teenager,
forget. Yeah, like the 15 years old, we got like fake IDs, and we was trying to go to Roseland and Northmore and stuff like that. But I wasn't like into music. I was like starting the DJ thing, but it was more like going out to dance and get girls.
So
at
you
that
were
time.
you were a DJ before you made music.
I was DJ before I made music. Yes.
And then club-wise, because everybody knows about the seminal big clubs in New York, that people talk about, Paradise Garage and Zanzibar and whatever.
Well, there's a lot of clubs before that. I mean,
exactly, that's what I mean. So the ones that people don't know about, the ones, the smaller places, or the
the World was a very big club back in the days. Northmore, and of course the Garage. It took us like me and my friends. It took us like 2 weeks to get into the Garage. We used to just go there until we got in. And we got in, we was like mesmerized or whatever. So I think it was like around 18 years old when I got into that. Check that out. A friend of mine's just like, he was like, "Yo, we gotta go to the Garage. Gotta go to the Garage." Because I was into hip hop stuff, and I didn't really know about the club music, but I was into going out to, to clubs and stuff like that. So I don't care really what they was playing, Latin, soul, everything like that. I liked a bit of every type of music because my neighborhood, Brighton Beach, there was like Filipino, white, Spanish, Jews, everything, every type of nationality, and I just I heard different musics, and I developed from that. So we had fun. We just trying to get in clubs, fake IDs, sneaking around, drinking before you get into the club with the car, come on, let's drink, because we couldn't afford to pay for no drinks in there, so it was like just vibing, to understand what was going on in clubs and music and DJing and stuff like that.
But you weren't, at that point, you weren't thinking in your head, "Oh, I want to be making records or making..."
Yeah, I wasn't really records, you got to realize you just started DJing, you get a turntable here and there, and you got your friends are bugging out, scratching and stuff like that, but you never think about really making a record. Making a record is like, it's like driving an expensive car back in the days. You don't think that you could even get near to something like that.
And the first music you made, was it hip hop?
First music, the first kind of beats I got into were like breakbeat music, because that's what I used to cut up. I used to cut up like Toys in the Attic and I Can't Stop John Davis, and I used to cut those records up, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. I just wanted to make beats. I didn't care about, I didn't know what house music was at all. I didn't know, I just learned I learned some of the freestyle records and electronic records when they was coming out, but I didn't really know, what that was.
I mean, that's because for me, like I came from hip hop as well.
Right.
And to me, I was brought into house music through your records.
Oh, cool.
Really. I mean, I was really into, probably the only nerd in the UK that liked freestyle records.
Right, there you go.
Hip hop, and I used to go to, and I was into Miami bass. I go to Fort Lauderdale to buy Miami bass records.
Yeah.
So I was a real freak for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't, to me, when I first started listening to house music,
Yeah.
it wasn't my thing. But when your records came out, it had the hip hop.
Well, I was mixing it up.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of just grabbing the elements of, I guess, what we was brought up in, and mixing it with what they knew. It's just keeping the beat funky. I just thought that was the cool way to come into doing house music.
But then the first music that I heard from you wasn't hip hop. It was more like, I'll play a little bit of something,
Yeah.
one of your early records.
Okay.
You probably think it's terrible now. But I'll play a little bit.
It's all good. That's funny. Makes me laugh hearing this stuff.
What, because you don't like it anymore?
No, I love freestyle. I put out 2 freestyle albums recently. I don't care, you know. These were songs and you was dancing to it, so you know you bob your head to it. They're funny. You goof around with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fun.
So that's, tell me what that record is.
Yeah. Why You Want to Go? Fascination.
And so that's I believe one of the first records you.
Oh, some of the
involved
first, I had this out. I had Love Letter.
Yeah.
I had ISIS. I had like a bunch of records, like Girls. I did a lot of freestyle records.
But I'm trying to work out the connection between you being a hip hop head and being into James Brown and analog sounding records, then making records that were pretty much, you know, electronic pop records, you know. So
Well, I mean, what happened was like I was doing the rap stuff and I made rap beats and then we had Chaos.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that stuff and then I was working with Houdini, Dynasty and Mimi, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, MC Search. I was doing all those records, but a lot of those records didn't come out. Some of the MC Search records came out and stuff like that, and then Bad Boys, Inspector Gadget, and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff came out, but sometimes my names wasn't on it and stuff like that. So I just kept it moving. And then freestyle, just I don't know. We went to a club. I listened to some freestyle music. I said, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah.
So I was like the Arthur Baker stuff and Shannon, Give Me Tonight, all that stuff. I was like, "Yeah, I'm into this." Like, I'm going home and make this beat because Lisa was beaty.
But how are you? Because I can understand when you're making hip hop stuff, where you can just be a DJ and cutting things up and having an MC. But when you're having to make records like that, some of them are quite complex, you know.
Yeah.
Did you remember how? I mean, because now you just pick up a laptop.
Yeah.
How were you making those records?
Well, I made hip hop beats, so this technically was easy.
Yeah.
You know, the hip hop beats is like you had to find the right sound and everything at the time. And this was like there was no holds barred. You know, it's freestyle. You just do whatever you want and put some music to it and sing to it. You know, it was just like that's what I loved about it.
Because I was seriously into that stuff because I was a big Arthur Baker fan.
Yeah.
And you know,
Definitely.
Arthur Baker, and I'll get into it later too, because I'm really interested in the editing process. And you know, because I know Gail Sky King, who not many people know about.
Yeah, she was great.
She did that record, and people know about the Oma Santana's Chetman Nance.
Yeah. Manny Lehman as well did that too.
And you know, for me that stuff's fascinating. I'm going to concentrate a lot on that early stuff you did.
Great.
Because I think you don't talk about maybe a lot of that stuff quite.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So for me, going from records like that, I remember hearing like your Masters at Work records for the first time, right? So I'll just play a little bit of this. I probably put it on the wrong speed to embarrass myself. Here we go, a little bit. Again, a freestyle record, but different.
That's funny as shit.
I love this shit. I remember the first time I heard that record.
Yeah.
Both that and Alright.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd not really heard something like that before. To me, even though I was deep into a lot of freestyle stuff, to me, see, this wasn't funny to me. I thought this music was deep.
Yeah, no, I was mimicking, you know, Planet Rock and the soul, and I was just mimicking records, and you know, I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, but I just was doing it, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember what equipment you used back then making those records?
Oh man, that was the Casio RZ1.
Yeah.
And then I had a Korg SD 2000 where I triggered the samples.
So the RZ1, a lot of people know because
It's just a Casio drum machine, and it only had like
nothing, like
4 seconds of sample time.
Yeah.
So you had a kick, snare, hi-hat, and a noise.
And then but were you running stuff live? Or were you
a lot of stuff I was playing live. Like sometimes I would just like find a record that had percussion or whatever, just percussion, and I would mixing in while making the record. It was just like retarded, but you know, that's what you had. I only had a 4-track, you know, I had a 4-track reel-to-reel.
Yeah.
First I had a 4-track cassette, but then I had a 4-track reel-to-reel, and it just took time to go through it piece by piece to make those records. But that was done on a 4-track reel-to-reel.
Wow.
Tascam 32, I think, or 38, one of those two.
And then With the edits on that, did you do the edits yourself?
The edits inside the beat. I made it sound like somebody was editing.
So it's not a tape. It's not tape edits.
Well, there's some. All Right had tape edits because it was me, Mike Delgado, and Franklin Martinez.
Okay.
They did tape edits in there, but then they disappeared because they wanted to go play baseball. And in the next record, the Dum Dum Cry, I did the edits myself.
So again, just to explain to people that don't know, so that there,
that's Drum Machine. That's Drum Machine edits. There's Drum Machine edits and there's tape edits.
that's just the cut.
That's me mixing in the record.
And you just think they're on a 4-track.
Yeah. I stayed there days trying to do that shit. Retarded. So my mother would come in and she goes, "Will you turn that shit down? It sounds the same." Like she would just stop it already.
So you're doing all these records at home?
Yeah, I did them at home. I couldn't afford a studio.
Wow.
I didn't get into the studio until I did the freestyle records.
Yeah.
I saved up money to go and do those in the studio because those were vocals and I had everything arranged because my idea was like I only had like maybe like $120.
Yeah.
So I had to come in there and tell the engineer, "Look, I'm ready to go. Like put this beat. I'm gonna play this bass line. I'm gonna put this synthesizer, and this bitch is gonna sing, and we're getting the fuck out of here." That's what I would do. It's like, and that was it.
And the melody lines on these records, you played them?
I played them, yeah. I played them by hand. Like a lot of, back in the days, I used to just play all the music by hand. There was no, I didn't know how to use a sequencer.
Yeah.
So I would sit there and just play it, punch, play it, punch, play it, punch.
And so the culture of freestyle.
Yeah.
Back in I've got this record which I love, this cutting record. I know you made records with Aldo Marin, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I know there's all the guys on the back here.
Yeah.
The legends of freestyle.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how did you hook up? Because for me, I knew Aldo Marin from like Hashim, the amazing electro records.
I was just in the circuit, like I was hanging out in the clubs, and people knew me from just like in the street, hanging out, like, "Yo, Todd, what's up? Where you going?" "Yeah, I'm going over here. We're going to this club," or whatever. We just in that circuit. New York was just rocking at the time. It's vibrant. Everybody was cool with each other. We all just kind of, was just doing it. We was just all interested in each other's music and just feeling it out.
So people that were into, there wasn't like a division, because in the UK, for instance, if you like hip hop,
yeah,
you didn't like house. You came from electro.
Right,
that's a weird
yeah.
thing. Like,
so separated. Not us.
Electro,
yeah.
Even though to me, I see the connection between electro to freestyle to house.
Right.
In the UK, it's more electro to hip hop. Then you're hip hop.
That's
or you
right.
die.
Yeah.
If you listen to house music.
Yeah. Why you listen to that? Yeah.
Then in New York, it wasn't like that, right? It was more.
Yeah, it was more diverse. You can, we went to, I went to hip hop clubs, I went to house clubs, I mixed it up, because I'm from a bunch of different music. I went to merengue clubs and danced with the Spanish women. Like we got down, man. We just was having a good time, we didn't care.
You hear the diversity in your music. Yeah.
I love percussion, I love beats, I always try to mix it up, it's just where I'm from.
And then business-wise, with these guys, so they were just your friends running labels, right?
Yeah, friends running the labels, but there's a certain point, like you got to realize I started having a lot of records on radio, so then I'm like, "Yo, you better pay me some money," so stuff like that. So then I got the reputation of being a little hard on a lot of
you had a manager
labels. No, I didn't have a manager at that time, so I was just like would go up there with me and my boys and kind of put the gun on the table, like, "You're gonna pay me some money." Like I turned into like the gangster of it in a weird way. You couldn't tell now I'm such a nice guy.
But people still wanted to work with you, right?
Yeah. Well, it had a scary point at one point, but every now and then I just would run into somebody just as gangster as me, and we just would get along and keep it going.
And have you got friends you were hanging with then that you still hang with now, or still?
As far as like, Kenny's from way back in the days, Louis from way back in the days with me, Mike Delgado, was way back in the days with me. Certain heads, we're just gonna hang forever. We just came up together.
So from the freestyle to Masters at Work, which I should talk about really, the title Masters at Work.
Yeah.
You were Masters at Work first, right?
Yeah, we and Franklin Martinez and Mike Delgado was Masters at Work at first. Yeah.
And then how did that? Kenny was your friend, so how did that?
That's later. Like as you go on, I could explain the Kenny and the Masters at Work story. That came a little bit after certain records,
All right. So for me, my connection to you.
Right.
It's because back in like 88, 89, I've just come out of college, and I went to see Mel Medallia, we both kind of know. an interesting character.
Yes.
Who ran Champion Records, and I come out of college and I was going raving at night, hearing your records, and designing record sleeves for people. So I did the record sleeves for Raw House, Yeah Buddy. I did
I mean, this is
crazy.
This is classic, man. This is it.
It's
cool. I didn't know that you did it. I didn't really read it. We was just thinking about it the other day. Yeah, we want to put out these records again with these type of covers, and somebody told me, he's like, "Really, was Trevor all this time?" Like, it's crazy.
It's mad.
It's crazy. That's cool though.
But so these records, I've got to play a Raw House record.
You gotta pull that thing down. I think.
No, I think it's broken.
Check this out.
It's gonna blow it out.
I love it. Got to hear this record loud.
Too strong. Check this out.
I mean, it still gives me like goosebumps. I've heard this record a million times, and I'm sitting with. I mean, an anthem. Obviously, I hear that record so many. It's still kind of like I feel proud to have been involved in these records.
Well, here's the transaction. So the transaction from Masters at Work beats and freestyle beats to that. What happened was a friend of mine's back in the days, Tracks, used to hang out with Mike Delgado, and he comes into the house. He says, "Yo, man," he brings a cassette.
Yep.
He says, "Yo, forget about that shit. You gotta do shit like this." And I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking about now?" So he plays me this cassette, and I didn't know at the time who was on it. But it was Move Your Body, it was Reese and Santonio, Kevin Saunderson. It was all this Chicago house stuff.
So what was it? Where did you get
I don't know. It's just like it just had. I can't remember if it was mixed or not, but it was just like 15 records on a cassette.
Yeah. And
it was all Chicago house.
Yeah.
He says, "Yo, you gotta do a record like this. Forget about all that shit you doing." Like, he's jumping around in the house. And I was like, "Dude," he said, first thing I said, it's like, it all sounds like the same fucking beat. It's just like, doop, doop, doop. It just does the same shit all the time. He says, yo, you could do this. I know you can do this because you come up with this and that. And I was like, all right, well, I'll try a couple of records. We check it out. So, like, the next week, I did, the first house record I did was Party People.
Yeah.
So then I show it to him, right? And he sits there and he's listening. He's going, and I'm looking at him. He's like, I say, "So, what do you think?" He goes, "That's the shit, man." I said, "Yo, you're gonna be big. You're gonna be big." And he's like jumping around and dancing. It just was mad funny. It's like, because I didn't know. I was just really making fun of it.
Did you make that at home again?
I made that at home. Like, if you listen to Party People, I'm making fun of it. I'm going pop, 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 pop. I just did it like that. I just sat there and like looked around, and I added this, and then I added that, and then I said, "Hey, I'll show Tracks tomorrow." And like, as I showed it to him, it's like he's losing his mind. He's like, "Yo, you made that? How did you make that?" I just made it yesterday.
So how did it end up? Well, on Champion anyway. How did it end up getting released?
Well, we had a label that I used to do a lot of hip hop stuff with this guy named Tony D. I used to always be in Coney Island in the basement doing all these hip hop records for Jungle Brothers and all these other guys and stuff like that. And then I just bring that record to them. They said, "Yo, we should put this out on the label." I said, "You really you want to put house shit out on the hip hop label? Because Idler's supposed to be a hip hop label." Yeah. And he says, "Nah, we're doing it because this way we're innovative and we're going to be #1 and everything like that." I was like, "All right, Tony, whatever." He's just popping shit. So he just put the record out. It was the smash. And then I just started playing around. I came up with "Can You Party," and it was like the remix to Party People.
Yeah.
Bring it to him. He says, "Yo, you might really, really have something here." I was like, "What? It sounds just like the other record." He says, "No, but it's like different." So I gave that record to him, and then I did Bango, and I ran into
Was Bango next then?
Bango. Here's the secret. Here's the secret. I'm gonna give you the secret. Here's the big old secret. "Can You Party," Bango, "Back to the Beat," and "Swan Lake" is all the same record. It's all the same beat.
Yeah, it was the same beat. Yeah.
I just put different things around it.
Ah.
All the same thing. And my trick was like, I'm going to give one of these to this label, one to that label, one to this label, and one to that label. And that's what I did. And I put 4 different names. One was Swan Lake, one was Todd Terry Project, one was Royal House, and the other one's Todd Terry Project, and Back to the Beat. It was all the same beat. I just copied it over and added different shit, different stuff to it.
They sound sonically. They were very. I mean, I'm thinking about other records at the time.
Well, I had to have Herb Powers master my records, unless I would have a fit. So there was one, but it was Can You Party?
Yeah.
I couldn't get Herb to master it, so I mastered it.
Ah.
So I did the mastering.
But still, in terms of the sounds are so
Oh
raw,
yeah, it was just raw and hard. Yeah.
Chicago stuff at the time was, well, I suppose it was
Yeah.
pretty raw.
Yeah.
But a lot of the New York house stuff maybe didn't have that edge.
Because I was matching to LL Cool J.
And also you were
I was
sampling
matching
off a
to
tape as
rap
well,
rap
right?
records. That's how I.
If you're sampling
Yeah.
off a tape and you've got a 12.
Yeah,
to 8
it has
sampler,
that
you're gonna have
oomph to it.
grit
Yeah, but I was, like I said, I was matching to hip hop records.
Yeah.
I wanted my records to be house but sound like hip hop.
And how were they received in New York then? Were they received by hip hop
It was-
audiences?
it's
'Cause
like-
some hip hop
it
was
was-
getting fast at that. You had like your Marley Marl fast records.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Like Marley and all of them, all the hip hop heads was just like right there with me because they you got to realize all the real hip hop heads they came from Quincy Jones and funk and dancing and disco.
Yeah,
they
totally.
knew that they knew what was up. They was like, okay, this is cool for us because we can play our rap shit, go into a little bit of this shit, and go back into our rap shit.
Yeah.
Like they knew that it fit the dance floor.
I've got a funny question for you. Right? There was a credit on one of the Idlers labels. I never quite understood what the joke was about. This record is dedicated to Rover, who cried when Fifi died and swore he would get his revenge. What the fuck is that about?
We were just clowns, man. And my mother had this dog named Fifi, and we just was clowns. And it's like one day I lost the dog. Don't ask me what happened, but we took the dog out and we was making records or whatever. And I'm making records. I told my friend, yo, watch the dog. Make sure the dog doesn't go nowhere. Next thing you know, the dog disappears in the studio, and we never found the dog. And it's just like it was just comical. It was like, yo, and I had to go and tell my mother I lost a dog. I was like,
serious.
and I didn't tell my mother until like my mother didn't really notice it. Then she comes in one day and she goes, "Hey, how you doing?" She says, "Where's my fucking dog? Where's my dog at?" She didn't say no bad language, but she was angry as hell. Like, "Where's my dog?" And I was like, "You ain't gonna believe this, but I lost the dog." So that was the Fifi and all the
It's like
jokes.
back in the day when people used to kind of care about what people
Yeah.
wrote on the.
Yeah.
when
Like
when
you
records
see,
getting cut
yeah.
on the-
Lost the damn dog.
So I'm going to play you a couple of records, right? That were big. It's interesting because these were big records to me
Right.
when I was going out, and I want to know how you connected with them
Yeah.
or how they came into your life.
All right. There you go.
Yeah. Let's skip it forward a bit to the bit that everyone knows. Then hold on. Well, no one will know this record unless they're over 35, 40.
Kids would never know this record. This is
I'm trying to find out where is the vocal. This is why I'm a shit DJ.
yeah,
So it's that,
yeah.
and then I play the next one. And these two records to me were like my going out records. They were huge, they were big in the kind of club. I went to
Yeah,
Eddie's.
we'll talk about the record that we interpret that.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you.
That was it right there. That was it.
So that's it, right?
That was it. That was it.
And then, so there I was going, this is earlier 80s.
Yeah,
And I was going to new romantic clubs, new wave clubs. And I'm doing these sleeves for Mel, and he gives me this new track. He goes, here's this Swan Lake track, you got to hear it. And I was then... It's the right side, isn't it? Yeah.
Here we go again.
There we go. Oh, and also, with that in it. then when
whatever.
the whole sample thing got serious, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll get onto it a bit later.
Yeah.
Did they all chased you? The publishers must have come after you.
It got bad. It was a particular time. I think the biggest sample problem record was Biz Markie.
Really?
And yeah, they came after him really
Oh,
hard.
you're talking about for the Leo Sayer.
Yeah. They came after him
Yeah.
hard, and that made everybody just go crazy coming after samples. So then it was like just retarded.
I remember because I worked with Younger Brothers as well. I did a sleeve for I'll House You.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the office, the G Street office, which was around the corner back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And they were talking about how there were companies in New York being set up, just literally people trying to find samples.
That's
it
it,
became,
yeah.
It became a business to
Became
search
a
through
business,
hip-hop
yeah,
records to find records just to fuck people.
Right. Well, there was another big case with Aaron Fuchs, who was on Tough City.
Yeah.
And he sued LL Cool J for a Roundaway Girl for impeach the president.
He bought the rights to impeach. Yeah.
Right, and he won like $300,000,
I should've
and
done
everybody
that.
was like, "What?" Everybody started, moving away from the samples or hiding them. So
Yeah.
that's why I won, because I knew how to find really hidden. I started
yeah.
finding really hidden samples
Okay.
that you couldn't really tell where it was from, and that's where I came up with like, a day in a life and all that stuff, and because I found obscure sounds to take.
Perfect.
And
then, I mean, the thing is as well, all these records, I went through your discography,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a blurry memory. I was going out so much then. And I realised in like 88, 89, the amount of records you put out was insane. And the amount of anthems, I mean, the records
Yeah.
are still, it's not like you had a few big ones, and then but
Right.
like every record you put out was like fire, right?
yeah, it was just when you're locked, it's when you're locked in.
Yeah.
You can do anything. If you get really locked in, it's crazy, and especially you hear your stuff on the radio and you kind of know exactly what people are looking for. Once you get locked in, it's good, and I think I get really locked in every 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
in the industry. It's like sometimes I don't get it, but sometimes I do. It's like sometimes it just comes to me, and I just kind of really know what people want.
So we were talking about, I won't play it, we were talking about the resample for Back to the Beat. But the other side, Bango to the Batmobile, which I played a little bit of. It's 45. That's 33. Crackles.
Yeah.
These are my original copies, man.
To the Batmobile. Let's go.
So the interesting story about
on,
this
yeah.
is so I had Can You Party and party people playing in the clubs and stuff like that, and I made a reel to reel for Little Louis Vega, and I made a reel to reel for Larry Levan,
Yeah.
and Larry played it, and from that was like the ultimate stamp of approval,
Yeah.
And then I ran into Larry in Vinyl Mania Records, and he was like, "Yo, the Bango, man, the Bango." He says, "You heard I'm murdering it." I said, "Yo, I said I just got back from London." I said, "I can't wait to get to the club and hear you play it or whatever." And he rocked that record. But it wasn't out yet. It's just like I just had it playing for certain DJs. I gave it to certain DJs. And then then I ran into Will Sokoloff, that used to own Sleeping Bag Records. And he goes, "Hey, I heard about this Bango record. You know that record, you got to give it to me because I own it." And I was like, "I don't got to give you nothing." Like, I was like, we used just to talk shit against each other, because I know Will from I used to produce Tila Rock.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which is just ironic, weird things going on. He says, "Oh, you got to bring that record up to me. We're putting it out next week, blah, blah, blah." I said, "All right, I guess I do. I give it to you. It's your record. I sampled your record." So I went up there in Sleeping Bag, and that's when it was just like mayhem in Sleeping Bag. It's like me, Just Ice, Mantronics, Tila Rock went on tour for the Sleeping Bag. And forget about it. That's just like the next level of history right there. We made history with that tour. Because you had hip hop, you had house, you had real gangster rap, because Just Ice murdering people at the time, it's like crazy. So I was on that tour. So, and I was Just Ice's DJ and Tila Rock's DJ.
You
So
came to London, right? Did you come?
yeah,
I
we
saw
did
it
with
at
the first,
Town Country Club, no,
yeah, the
Forum.
WAG.
Oh, the WAG. I must have, okay.
Did the WAG, we did the Fridge,
Yeah.
Brixton Academy. We just like start killing these places in it. And then from there on, I was really locked in. I was like, okay, I'm here forever.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I'm going anywhere after this, you know?
And then because Sleeping Bag was obviously coming by Arthur Russell, right?
Yeah, Arthur Russell was weird character.
You met him, you knew him.
Yes, I met Arthur. I don't think Arthur was too keen about me sampling his record, but he took it well. He took it with a grain of salt and kept it moving.
And then, so we got Sleeping Bag, then Fresh was a spin-off of Sleeping Bag.
Right, I was on Fresh. I did records for Sleeping Bag. I did a couple of records, I think, for Sleeping Bag, but I was more on Fresh because they wanted to keep the hip hop sounding stuff on Fresh,
Yeah.
and the real song orientated stuff on Sleeping Bag.
And Fresh, Mantronics was on Fresh.
Mantronics was on Fresh, yeah.
And then there's obviously comparisons between both of your work.
Oh, you mean at least to curse each other? I hated
Wait, I just-
I
I
hated
couldn't
Curtis
work
when
out.
I first met him. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck him. I'm better than you. And we used to just battle against each other. And then we started hanging out and picking up girls with each other. It was mad funny. Like he's to lie about me, I used to lie about him, and it just worked for us. It's like it was really stupid, but I love him. He's like a brother, man. So we had a really good time.
Let's have a look. Next. Okay. So, next one. Like, you know, this is back in the day how we all found our records. Like,
Yeah.
and for me,
This is it. You pulling it out.
you know, for me, this record, I just knew it as the Mexican. I didn't know who did it or nothing. So, you know, this is a big B-boy track.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just as a hip hop head, I just knew that as like all these Ultimate Breaks. You never knew the record was a buy. You just knew the title.
Yeah.
So you did a cover version.
Yes,
pretty
pretty
much.
much.
So how did that happen?
We actually I wanted to do the record over, and I had this girl that I don't know that we was gonna, you know, I started to replay everything, and I wanted to do the Mexican over.
Yeah.
And she was just like, you know, she's singing the parts and everything like that. And then me and her got into a fight. I took her vocals off, and I made Dreams of Santana.
But then that's quite a step from making these kind of sample records.
It
to a
was
vocal
weird,
thing.
yeah, because I did so many good house records, and then Breath of Fresh Air is like, you know what, I'm going to do some freestyle records as well too, because I really like it, and then that's how I came up with
Dreams
the
of Santana.
yeah.
Which is 33, yeah. That's just heavy. In the case of Bunch, right? That's begun.
That was an 8-track. This was an 8-track. 8-track Tascam, I think, at the time. The first one that came out, yeah. Oh shit, that's nice. That little gate in there. He's like,
Mine. So, yeah, why do you call it Orange Lemon? Do you remember?
I was just running out of names. I had Black Riot, I had Swan Lake, Orange Lemons, I had Time Force, English Friday. I just made, at a certain point, I just started writing down, I wrote down like 20 or 30 names I could use, because inside the contracts, like, you only could be that artist for that contract.
Yeah.
So I came up with the concept of different names produced by Todd Terry,
Okay.
and they couldn't do nothing to me in the contract. I found the loophole of that, you know. So I abused it because I wanted 20 records out.
Yes.
Because at 20 records, I was looking at 20 records at $1,000 to $3,000 each. I had money.
Of course.
You know, it made more sense.
And so you were talking about when you came over for the Fresh Records tour.
Yeah.
And that was kind of more of a hip hop thing, right? It was with
More
Just
hip-hop
Eyes
too,
and
yeah.
Naturals, it was a hip hop thing.
Yeah.
But then when this record came out, I mean, this was so huge in the rave scene in the
Yep,
UK.
yep,
So
yep.
I'm just imagining there you are in New York, hearing these records probably in medium-sized, small clubs.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, I remember going to like Sunrise or Biology,
Yeah.
20,000 people.
Yep.
Listen, I mean, what was it like when you first came to UK in '89, Summer of Love? It must have been nuts,
I mean, the
right?
first time I came, it was just everything moved so fast, and we did the WAG, we did Fridge, we did Brixton Academy, we did like 5 clubs real quick. So we was here for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we did everything so fast, and it's just it's just like I'm mesmerized. And then I went back home, and then it popped off there.
Yeah.
Like just that week after, they're like, "Yo, man, you got to play like these 4 or 5 clubs. You got to play 1018. You got to play this and that." They're calling for you, like you got to, answer your phone or something. I was like, and then I came back to the UK, and then this started booming. It's like, and it's just like, it was just overwhelming, and it's just, I definitely went to my head. So I was just like bugging out. It's just like losing my mind.
But did you realise it's something else because, it became something different in the UK.
Yeah.
Rave and house culture. We took something from America.
You couldn't even tell.
Different.
I mean, that record's so different than the other record.
Yeah.
So you just like, I just was like, okay, that worked too. Like I was just like I was really in shock. So then I just kept on banging out tracks. Not even thinking. I figured that if I think, I'm gonna mess up.
You don't remember actually walking into a space like? Did you get?
Oh no, I do. I remember driving to
Nowhere,
Wick
yeah.
Cardiff or something like that, and the guy was like, he says, "Oh man," he says, "Orange Lemon." I was like, "Okay." He's playing hard techno, but he played Orange Lemon just before I got there, and I was just like, "Is that my record sped up?" Like it had it like +8, but it was just like the crowd was there. So I was like, "Okay, this is weird. This is all weird to me." Like I now I don't really know what's going on.
I mean, not that genres don't really matter, right? Do they?
Well, I think back then you just would mix it up. You didn't.
It's fun because I definitely thought of those records probably more as techno records than I did as house records at that time. And house was a bit softer. And
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And those records are getting played in crazy.
It's just like a mixture of things. Well, that's when I think that you was a better DJ back then because you played reggae, funk, soul, house. You played everything. Like I remember doing
DJing a lot. So this is.
I was DJing a lot. I was playing everything. I would play everything. I play house. I play this. I'm throwing effects and throwing that.
I did see you play once. Around the time when you just played your own records all night.
Oh yeah, well that's what the guy. Yeah, the guy was just
no
like.
one had the balls to do that. And I was like, I'm going to see Todd Terry play, and you just played every track with your own record. It was amazing, and no one else could really do that at the time.
Yeah, it was. That time I had an hour of music.
Yeah.
So I guess I just took advantage of it.
Jungle Brothers, then.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff in this year, man. Don't worry, we're not going to go.
This is all happening in 3 years, by the way.
Yeah, totally. Of course.
Like, so Jungle Brothers, what happened was went back to America and Bango took off, whatever. And then Tony was like, "Yo, for the Jungle Brothers, we got to do something with Candy Party." And I was like, "Why would you want to do that? That's hip hop and this is that. If anything, give me their vocals and I'll sample it on top of the track." He says, "No, they're gonna rap on top of it." I was like, "Tony, come on, that's ridiculous. You're gonna wait. That's gonna sound retarded." But I said, then let me change the beat a little. He says, "No, leave the beat just like that." So I came in the next day and it was Our House Shoes sitting there, and we just like it was done. Like I just came in there and I just kind of we made him squeeze the vocals, and it was done. Wow. It's just like literally done, and we was just like in shock, and we just like I said, "Yo, this is gonna be the biggest shit ever. Or it's gonna be the worst shit ever." That's how we looked at it. And we dropped that record, and we was on radio. And like the third, I think the second week we was like #1 on the radio.
And the hip hop audience in America embraced that record.
They embraced the shit out of that record. You had to see it. It's just like it's crazy. Like a certain part of the night, you're dancing in a hip hop crowd, and they just throw in Our House Shoe, and everybody's like doing the horsey dance to their record. I was like, Okay, this is ridiculous.
was-
Now I'm totally confused. I don't know what to do now.
But was that because to be controversial, part of me thinks
Yeah.
at heart you're a pure hip hop head, right?
Yeah.
And part of me thinks that the house stuff is kind of fun, kind of makes a
Yeah,
living.
it's fun for yeah.
But so I think, was that for you kind of satisfying to be like, hey, my heads, all my people really actually like this shit?
I felt really that was my hip hop acceptance,
Yeah.
fully drawn to any and every one of those hip hop heads. If you said I'll house you, it was like, yo, I like that record.
Yeah. And then
You know,
I'm interested. So why because hip hop was getting huge. I mean, at that point, house and techno was kind of big in Europe.
Yeah.
But not in America. It wasn't the EDM scene it is now.
Right,
But you
right.
could have followed a hip hop path probably.
Yeah.
And been a multi-millionaire making hip hop records because hip hop was so huge. And
yeah,
it's
but I
like,
couldn't any of those rappers that respected me for I'll house you. They wouldn't get in the studio with me.
Really?
No, because it's out of their realm. What would they do with me? They wouldn't know what to do on how to rap on a house
You
track.
worked with, like, then you did an album for Tila Rock, right?
Tila Rock got it. He
how
understood
come?
it because we did housing with the T's,
Yeah.
and he understood it because he was in the clubs in London with me. So
Oh, that's okay.
any rapper that came out with us to London
Yeah.
caught on fast. So they was like, yo, wait a minute. That's dope, man. Tronics, all that. They say, oh, we got to do more club records. Club records are booming because you guys would play your club records on radio.
Totally.
The U.S. would be like, oh, that's a club record. We only play pop records.
But you were making straight hip hop beats as well, though. You weren't just making on the Tila Rock album. there
Yeah,
were
a
things
lot.
like-
I used to do a lot of ghost producing for artists and stuff like that. Like I said, like, the Houdinis, Dynasty and Mimi and stuff like that. I used to do a lot of like undercover hip hop stuff like that and just either change the name or stuff like that. Like the guy that I really wanted to work with back in the days was like DJ Cheese and King
course,
Tut and
yeah.
all that stuff. Like I wanted to work with them, but I could never get it into them. Like
And they worked with Latin. I mean, they were connected to Latin Rascals because they used their. Was it part?
No,
of that
Latin
scene?
Rascals just used a lot of their beats or whatever there, but Cheese and all of them was just like, they was like from Philadelphia and all that stuff. They just had their own thing going over there. It's just like, it was just so much going on. You know,
Yeah.
you had this clique doing that, you had that guy doing that. I mean, Tribe Called Quest used to work for me at Warlock.
Really?
And then they started doing their own thing. PM Dawn used to work at Warlock.
You know, I did
So
speak to
that's
Pink
why
Dawn
they
as well,
understood,
man.
right? So that's why they understood the club stuff,
Yeah.
and they would mix the the hip hop with the club stuff. So it started getting a bunch of mixtures and stuff like that
Okay.
rocking.
And then moving forward a bit more, Royal House, a Better Way, which was a song.
Yes.
Right? So I've got it here.
Yeah.
I've got it here. I've got this is funny because I didn't do the sleeve to this, but this is a sleeve a rip off of my.
Yeah, I can see you can see
I did
ideas.
Race Break for Love, and that's not
Yeah.
Race Break for Love. But I'll play a bit of this. It's a weird. I don't know why I've got this on this. I think I got it because I ripped off my sleeve. Which one shall I play? Okay, that's going to be on 45.
Love is a mystery, love is a mystery. It's plain to see, it's plain to see. You gotta be you, you gotta be you. I got to be, I got to.
So that was a proper song. So how did that work?
Well, between what I knew how to do songs because of freestyle stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it was just good that I practiced rap records
Yeah.
and freestyle records. So I was able to. I think I was like the only one able to do songs back then, a lot. That was really song orientated because I come from the clubs where I want to leave the club and sing the song. I was just like, let no man put us under. We used to come out the club singing, yeah, it's not over. Just walking down the street, goofing around and stuff like that. So that's what I came from. So I always wanted to give the best of both worlds. I wanted to give the hard tracks,
Yeah.
but I also wanted to give the songs because I knew girls were into songs.
of
They
course.
love to sing songs, and I just wanted to do it all. And then between that and Weekend, just wanted to do it all.
Because again, looking at the time, I'm thinking about the progression in your career,
Hmm.
and I'm just looking at a year. This is still 88.
Yeah.
It's nuts, and I'm because it's kind of like.
But 88 are on different time zones of label. So because Bellafon would put it out 6 months later,
Yeah, yeah.
and you didn't hear what the U.S. had going on 6 months before, but then all of a sudden you guys were ahead of us, and U.S. would get it late.
Yeah.
So it was kind of bugged out how it came
And
together.
then you did Weekend, so then you did Weekend as well. And how was
Weekend,
that's the original a cappella. I've never quite understood.
I got the acapella from somebody like, I said, yo, you got the acapella to
That's
that?
a Sleeping Bag record.
Yeah, it was a Sleeping Bag record. And this was another thing where Will was like, you're not giving these records to another label.
Oh, so you
These
didn't
are
do
my
it for
records.
him. I always assumed you did it for him.
Yeah, I did. But if I'm always just trying to sneak away and get
Okay,
some
yeah.
money from another
Someone else,
label.
yeah.
So he would catch me all the time and say, nah, man, that belongs on Sleeping Bag. Don't even try it. So,
And then skipping forward a little bit to another one of my favourite records of yours, The Hard House, Voices in My House, which for me it's almost like you stripped it back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like from the chaos,
Uh-huh.
good chaos.
Yeah.
You went to do something a bit more kind of like strip back. Still got your weight.
Well, I was following probably something that was out at that time. I'm trying to think of where I got this idea for this record.
And the other
Well,
side is equally as good.
Yeah. Well, that idea I got from Do It Properly. Do It Properly, yeah. That's where I got that from. Like that sound and that groove. It's just the grooves were changing, so I would follow through.
At the beginning, you were like totally doing your shit in your own world. But so were you listening to other things? and
This
being
was
more
just my
conscious
next
about-
power. Like I said, okay, I got to find the next thing now and take over that.
Yeah.
So I just kind of got into
Still in the
that.
space of a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So you did a Tila Rock album, and I'll play this.
I came here to tell you about the rhythms of the universe.
I assume you did this, right?
Man, I don't remember all these records. Let me see. I don't remember this.
On the stroke of a face of a jerk, I do work, decompose, freeze, control, dispose. I break necks, split throats
I
like
think I did that.
You
Yeah.
started. You said
Yeah.
you did.
Well, yeah.
foes get whipped like the back
I forgot all these records.
No, you do so much shit. It's
Yeah. It's crazy. I can't remember shit.
Men just lingering, I'm feared by all. Who does the fingering to their lives? Families even cling, I bring more fear in a year than Stephen King. I innovate, build like Tycho. Some call me teacher, other psycho.
Right, this is Flow with the New Style, right? Yeah, I did that.
Some say fire blast through the microphone.
That's crazy.
But what's really interesting, because that's
Yeah.
that's again like 88, 89, right? But then Public Enemy had come out at the same time. But people, again, talking UK wise, UK hip hop was based upon that.
Right.
And what went on to, when you talk about Shut Up and Dance and the
Yep.
Prodigy.
Prodigy,
the whole
all that
breakbeat
stuff
kind
from there, yeah.
That record, to me, really symbolises, I can't think of another record coming from America at that time. Maybe there was a few, maybe Most Wanted, Calm Down, had those kind of beats and things, and Uptown. But
Well, I was kind of I got that record from from Big Daddy Kane, Set It Off.
yeah.
Like that was but that's what, I'm always mimicking a record, but I want to take it as a
your own
different
place.
way. And I did remember doing that. And we did that in like hour.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just threw the beat together. I was like, and he said, yo, I got a rhyme just for this perfect. I was like, how do you have a rhyme that's ready to go? And he went in there and knocked us out in like 2 takes. Like it was crazy. He was like, all right, we're done next.
But did you realise how that was inspiring kids?
Yeah, because I was in that era of that time or whatever. But I always try to break away and do something while I was doing something else.
Yeah.
So if House is doing that stuff over there, I'm gonna go do a love song with somebody, like something stupid. Like I would always do that. I still do that to this day. I'm always gonna break away and try something different.
Then skipping forward,
Yeah.
moving forward now. Enough about the past. It's must be boring talking about the past. But we nerds are kind of like, we geeks, we love this kind of shit. So how did it work then now in terms of your career was, you were huge. I mean, I looked to your discography, remixes, nearly 1,300 remixes. It's something stupid. How did that change? I mean, your life must have changed completely. I mean, you're
Man,
still
my
here.
life, I'm still here, I've been rich and broke 5 times. What can I tell you? You just keep on going, It's like, it's just It's a drug. Music is a drug. You got to get in the studio. You got to do it. You got to feel it. You got to keep going.
And you still DJ and you still actively enjoy DJing.
Still going. You know, I think, you know, you go in and out of phases of what's going through with the music. So I just kind of, you know.
But you still enjoy it.
I enjoy it. Now I enjoy it. I mean, 5 years ago, I didn't enjoy it, you know, but I was still doing it. You know, I think it comes with when the music is feeling good. So now, like right now, house music is just feeling good. The floor is funky.
Yeah.
The kids get it. So now you're able to really, you know, I'm on point again. I feel the power again. Like I said, but I get that like every 4 or 5 years, I get the power back and I just go crazy. So I'll go crazy for the next 2 years, just popping out records and doing a lot of touring.
So New York, you're born in New York, you still live there.
Yeah.
New York now, is it still a
I live in New Jersey. Sorry.
Okay.
I live in New Jersey.
Okay, but is it still a vibrant, creative place with loads of people making music?
I don't know if me, Junior, Cat, if we all get in the studio, it works, you know. But it's just we all just got to be together and just go for it. But it's no real output like we used to have before. There's no real club output. I mean, there's still CLO and some of these clubs that do stuff, and then you got some of these new clubs, but they're not hiring the DJs they already have there.
Yeah.
You know, which is a little weird or whatever, but you know, you just keep it moving.
There's not a younger generation of people from New York. Because for me, I used to go, New York was like...
Not that I would know. If there is a younger generation that's doing their thing, you know. I think I went to a Soul Claps club the other night, and I thought it was really cool. It had a good vibe to it and stuff like that. There's some new guys that's out there that's kind of rocking, and they really feel it. You know, they feel it with a vengeance. Like they really like what's going on in house music.
I mean, I bought so many other records here. Sadly, I won't have time to play them, but I bought a Tiller issue because obviously you sampled that, and Killer MC, Yolanda Miller.
Wow, yeah, freestyle, yes.
Two in a Room, underrated.
Right. Yes, very underrated. He's a great lyricist. You know, Dose really rocks. Like I think he deserved a lot more. No, but you know we had some big hits together. You know, so it's good.
So the mix of Serious Intention you did.
Oh, okay.
I'll play a little bit of that.
Well, I didn't do that mix. Let me see which one you got.
Co-produced by Todd Terry. This is
Well, there's one. There was a little discrepancy with that whole thing. Let's see which one you got.
This is this one.
So check this out. That's me.
That's what it sounds like you.
Yeah. That's definitely me. Well, there was one point that I sampled the record, and I think that Paul Simpson or somebody had a problem with it, and they went and sampled me, and they made Easy Street put out their version of it.
Latin Rascals.
Wow. Yep.
You did a mix of this.
Yep. It must be you.
So they were. I mean, talking about Arthur Baker before. I mean, for me, they were like any record that had their name on it. I bought it.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Tony and Albert, and we always passed through each other because I used to do a freestyle. But these Latin Rascals was like our connect to radio because they used to take all the new records and cut them all up and edit them and get them on radio. I mean, KTU, all the big stations, they was bringing, all the freestyle and all the funky electronic music to US. Like nobody was rocking like them. They opened big doors for everybody.
And they started on the radio as mix, or they did the records first.
They started on the radio first. They would just grab people's records and make them better than what they was. Yeah. They used to re-edit everybody's records, and you're like, yo, I need to put it out like the way you have it. Because they would, do the beats, cut to the vocal, come back to beats, and add samples. Like they took your record and remixed it, unauthorized, and made it the greatest record ever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It was great at that.
And we mentioned quickly before about messing around with the gate thing.
Yeah.
But the edit, so just to reiterate, tape edits, right? And editing. So, Latin Rascals, Emerson, all these guys.
Incredible. Shep Nunez was like he was the god of editing with me because we used to go to Sleeping Bag and he used to be upstairs for Sleeping Bag. So he used to edit all my records. Like he did all the Bango and all that stuff like that. And we used to go upstairs and Shep was a rock head like me.
Was he?
Yeah. So we used to talk about Depeche Mode and all these AC/DC and rock groups. And everybody's like, what are they talking about? Why are they talking about rock records that nobody knows? But we was rock heads because, like I said, I grew up in that kind of environment and stuff like that. And we used to just pull out records. We didn't even get the records. Our records we were supposed to get done. We we didn't get them done because we're playing other records in the studio. But he used to sit there and show me how he would do edits with the tape and how he would measure. You know, he would have a measure thing there and know
For
that
each bar,
this.
how many bars
Yeah, he
were-
would
yeah.
know that this was perfectly locked.
Yeah.
When he made his edits, and he would loop them around and set them up. If you could mix in his edits, that's how
Really?
tight they was.
Wow.
Which is, you know, was unheard of at the time. I think Carlos Santana and Omar Santana and all of them, they was doing edits, but they wasn't exactly perfectly on beat. Latin Rascal was doing edits, but they was on beat because they used to measure. Any editor that used to measure, you knew you could play his
I've seen
records.
photos that had, you know, literally streams of tape on the wall.
Streams of tape
Like,
on
had
the wall,
that-
connect,
yeah, and just
like
put them together.
beat for A, B section, beat for bridge, break beat part. He used to have all these strips of tape, and then he would put it all together, and it would be the bonus beat hooked up.
Talking about Back to the Beat.
Yep.
And Chetnanez did a version which I've got here, which I should play because it's really fantastic.
Now, interestingly enough, he made this beat with edits. The whole beginning of the record, back to the back. He cut that
So he
and
had a
made
kick, so he had a kick on one bit of tape, a snare on another bit, or a bit.
I don't know. I don't even know. He took like I gave him some dub pieces, and he took that and he made beats, and then he would cut in the snare
Yeah.
as the beat was. He would cut in the snare, and he would get the echoes just right because he was to re-record on top of his edits. Is ridiculous.
Slave.
He's making that beat, son.
Let's go. Let's go.
How y'all feel out there?
It's all cut.
So those bits are cut as well.
Yeah, he made this version. Like he made it with like 17 pieces of tape. The record was nothing like this. Like he made that shit. It's crazy. Like he redid the whole record. Like I was like, how'd you do that? With just edits.
But he was from the freestyle.
Yeah. He knew that background. He did all the hip hop records. He did all the EPMD edits. He did Tila Rock's edits, Just Ice, all our records, all the Mantronic stuff. Joyce, Bass Machine, Joyce Sims, all that's Chep.
Yeah.
He made like you would come in there with a beat and a song, and he would make your shit hot, like in a couple of days. You come in there, listen to it, you go, dude, I wouldn't even have thought of how to even just arranging it alone. Because he said, and he always taught me something. He taught me that he says, put yourself on the dance floor and make the record.
And we're saying so people would, because now I put that on in a club, people couldn't. They'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" But then so people were dancing to stuff like that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And sadly, he's no longer with us. What?
Yeah, he died in a fire, man. It's like him and his girlfriend got stuck in a building with a fire, and they panicked, and she was able to live through it, but Chep unfortunately didn't make it.
Sad, like he was a genius.
He was
right?
genius, just a genius, just a really good dude. You know, you can hang with him, and like I said, I used to talk with him just about rock records. Like we just came from that school of just like all different types of music.
But in a club, because now if I try and play freestyle in a club, people are just like, "What is this shit?" I mean,
Yeah.
the people dance to those bonus beats. So they were breaking or what? How would they?
Yeah. I mean, back in the days, that was just the whole thing. But you know, to tell you the truth, in New York, there is like a little crowd for freestyle. Like I do some freestyle parties sometime, and people just show up and they're just dancing, they're having a good time. Remember that song and and everything. I was be playing all the beats and the breakdowns and Time Zone,
Wild
Africa
Style,
Bear, Wild Style, all that stuff. I play all that stuff. I have this party. It's called the the Fuck You Party. So you come
My
there,
kind of party.
you come there. I'm playing whatever. I'm playing reggae, funk, Rakim, all that shit. I just throw in all the records, rock records. Like I play Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody. I just play everything. And it's it's great. It's like we walk out of there happy. You know, I take everybody to breakfast after. Like who knows, 30 people. I don't care. I take them to all the breakfast, and we just.
So
That's what it's all about.
I was going to say to end this conversation. Ultimately, it seems to me, what drives you is just having fun and making fun
Yeah,
records, right?
I think it's your peers, it's your friends, it's everybody doing music and everybody just having a good time. I think when it becomes into the stress of major labels, driving you crazy, that something's got to be like this or like that, I think that's where we go wrong creatively, even in our heads. I've done it millions of times. I let them critique me to damage me, and sometimes you got to watch that. Well, you need the money sometimes. Sometimes you're just broke and they give you these 4 remixes you got to do. And they, we want you to sound like this. Or can you do something like this or that record? And you're like, not really me, but I'll do it because I got to get this done because I got to pay these bills and I got these kids. So, there's a life aspect, that could control you too. You got bills to pay, you got business, you got kids and stuff like that. And, I go through a lot. I went through a lot of that in my life.
But man, you're still here, and you're still knocking them out. Well, that's a weird thing to say in British. You're still creating some fine records. But thank you very much for listening to my nerd questions.